The research that I did for my PhD, which, as I say, was a little while ago, I don't do so much actual maths research at the moment, but I do know people who do juggle those two things at the same time, and that is a lot of work to do. I do a bit of research at the minute into maths communication, I guess, because that is now the thing that I'm mainly focused on. So I've done a couple of different research projects recently. I say since I started teaching at university, that, you know, everyone else is doing bits of research and things. And there's a whole kind of area of research in maths education and in maths communication, looking at sort of the ways that people learn and the ways that the best ways to communicate things, I guess. And it's sort of an interesting thing because a lot of maths communication is done by people who are really interested in maths and have to sort of develop and learn those communication skills to be able to kind of effectively communicate. But actually there is a lot of research done into that as well, and it's often rare that people actually have the time to go and dig into that and learn a bit more about the sort of theory behind it. And some of the bits of research that I've done have been looking into sort of the ways that you know, maybe if you're a young person who sees some kind of maths outreach thing, like you watch a video on YouTube about maths, or you know, how does that affect your perception of maths, and how does that affect your decision to maybe go and study maths at university? So there's been some really interesting questions to sort of ask in that area, and it's been really interesting reading all of the other sort of papers and research about that. But yeah, it's always a juggling act. As I say, I have colleagues who do both in maths and wider science do research alongside outreach, and it is often a bit of a struggle because, especially if your main job is working in a research department in a university, the outreach is sort of seen as a kind of extra that you just sort of doing top of whatever else you're doing, and it's not really seen as something that should be a priority. And I've known some people who've really struggled to get even just the time to do it or the permission from the department to do it. But it is one of those things that is undervalued, I think. And I say, you know, having the subject knowledge is one thing, having the communication skills is actually a totally separate skill. Sometimes people just assume, oh, this person is very knowledgeable, therefore they can come and give a brilliant lecture. But actually it takes a lot of practice and a lot of work and a lot of preparation to be able to give a really good talk or a lecture about something. But it's also undervalued in the sense that it's actually a really important skill, even if you're just a researcher. Not just obviously being a researcher is an incredible job, but if your main focus is doing your research, you still need to communicate that. You know, if you know, whatever you do, unless you can communicate it to someone else, you might as well not have done it. Yeah, the ability to kind of write a really good paper that is easy to understand or that will communicate what you've done effectively, and those skills, I think, are something that everyone kind of needs to develop, especially if you want to communicate your research. So even if you're just giving seminars internally in the department, you know, you can tell when you see someone who's good at giving seminars and you think, oh, this was great, I really enjoyed it, I really understood the content. And when you see someone give a really bad seminar, it's also very, very obvious. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a balancing act to sort of, even though I'm not doing kind of actual on the ground maths research, it's still a lot of things to juggle with my time. But it's about sort of keeping all of those different plates spinning at the same time, doing little bits on each of the things. And a lot of the people that I work with are in a very similar situation, so they're all quite understanding if it takes me a little bit longer to get back to them about something, and everyone is very forgiving about that.